Good evening, all. We from SRSC Alumni Association welcome you all for the 67th week of the online activity. Today, we have the webinar talk by Mr. Dayanidhi Palnisamy of 2012 batch, facilitated by the ECE department. A small information about Mr. Jeffrey Jose of 2000 batch CSE. He is one of the recipient of GitHub open source grant of rupees 1 crore. GitHub has announced that for 15 recipients of GitHub open source grants, a fund of 10 million Indian rupees to support and fund open source maintenance and contributors in India. Mr. Jeffrey Jose, 2000 batch CSE, is one amongst them. Now I call Dr. Jagdishwari ma'am, HOD, EC department, introduce the speaker.
Yeah, good evening to all. On behalf of SREC Alumni Association, Patron Dr. NR Alamelu, President Mr. S. Vasant Kumar, Secretary Dr. C.J. Thomas Renault, faculty members of the Department of ECE, students of the department, I would like to welcome the guest speaker of today, Mr. Dayanidhi Palnisamy, alumnus 2012 batch of ECE, to give this webinar talk series 67 conducted by the Alumni Association, Emotional Well-Being, a Tale About Resilience, to all the attendees of today's event. To introduce about the guest speaker of today, Dayanidhi Palnisamy has completed his Electronics and Communication Engineering from SREC in the year 2012, and he has about 8+ years of experience in IT industry. He was placed in campus interview in Infosys and worked there for about 2.1 years. And then he moved into Cognizant at 2015, and he is part of Cognizant as of today. He is the team leader for 10 members team under healthcare domain, tools like Selenium and Appium for mobile application automation. During his final year of graduation at SREC, he has also authored a Tamil poetry book titled Kulappiya Langare, which is placed across all the 4 national libraries of India. So with this credit, he is today to give a talk on emotional well-being, a tale about resilience. And as Dayanidhi Palnisamy is presently the Senior Product Specialist, Cognizant, Saravanambatti, Coimbatore. He is here today to give a talk on this emotional well-being to all the participants today. I would also like to welcome all the alumni members across the globe and also from India who has joined the event. I would like to thank the Alumni Association for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Principal ma'am, and all HODs present here, and all the staff members, and my dear students. Good evening, everyone. So this is Dayanidhi, as ma'am said. So I've been part of the same institution way back 8-9 years before, and now currently part of an IT domain. So I'm working now in Cognizant Coimbatore. My native is Erode, and I am married, and I have a kid of 5 years old. Okay, so you could have so you could have thought about the topic. What actually it must be, and it at the end of the session, basically I have 2 questions for you in this call, but by end of the session you might be answering those questions in a different way after the session. So that's my aim to what I actually require to convey in this forum. So my first question is, how are you all students? I at least want to hear from one or two so that I can. Okay, I'm assuming you're good. Okay, fine. So I'm assuming you're good that you at least said one or two has said good. If you are not good, let me know, because by default I'm assuming you're good because the topic revolves around that. If you're not good, just let me know and let me know why you're not good. I give 5 seconds. Okay. Thank you. So way back in 2008, I joined SRC in EC department and left my fingerprints and footprints everywhere around the campus during that 4-year tenure. It just feels like a dream, and now the life is going good. And week before, our professor Kasi has called me to attend a seminar with you guys, and I wanted to decide about it because before I talk, I wanted to make sure how useful my talk can be to you, what difference I can make in your mind. So I just said yes only after I decided what to talk. Basically, I wanted to touch upon the topic which you never learned so far, which is nothing but experience. So experience is something what we have a different between you and me, right? So it is something I earned it all these 8-9 years. So I thought, why can't we give our experience to them in a nutshell in a 40 minute session, so that my my students will understand what easily sense if they hear the same if they can able to experience the same in future, then they can see if something is coming good, something is threatening to come, or similar sort, and you can become immune to it. So that's the intent, I thought. So okay, what made you say that you are fine when I asked you how you all are, guys? So I think it might be based on your health, right? So means you don't have a fever, no cold, or no fatigue. So I'm good, right? So, but what I'm telling is there is another perception for it on assessing how you really are. So before telling if you are good or not, it doesn't mean that you are physically good, so that we are not good always. So yeah, today I could have picked a topic about computer science or communication, or evolving technologies, or what's new to learn, how you can get a job, how to become rich. But there are a lot of forums for it, right? So to explain it online, and technologies your professors can teach you better than anybody else. So I don't think so that would be a right choice. But after so after choosing your career and you traverse through your course of life out of college, there is something more important than all. At that point of time, you will get to understand our conventional education system is missing something big. Okay, so here is a small brief about what is that, how our how you want to answer about your first question. But we will touch upon the same topic going forward. But my second question: why you think you are ready for life when you finish college? I need a one or two at least, please. Why you think you are ready for life when you finish college? Okay, I assume that you would say something like this, like you have a technical knowledge, you are learning an extra course apart from my curriculum, and I'm a core person. I do my assignments or records on time. Uh, or even there will be one guy in every gang who will say, I'm putting a lot of effort in gym to gain muscles so I can fight anyone in life, even outside college. So it happens, right? So yeah, but some serious on serious note, some persons say that I'm attending a personality development class. There I'm getting taught that what's your understand what is your potential, what's your talent, your identity, your self-awareness, and your dreams and your life goals, right? So what I believe is, so it is again training your brain, just this time on a non-technical version, and leaving out your heart like an orphan. Okay, let's try to make it interesting with some real-time experiences. So we will move into some, example versions, then a description. So basically, human mind is, a progressive thing. So it does not stop with better. It always wants the best, and it's never ending. Are you happy with your current WhatsApp version? Anybody? Are you happy with your current WhatsApp version? You would always say yes, right? Because yeah, it works good. Yeah, it's communicating with people. We are, quickly doing all the sort of communication. We are sharing everything. But Mark Zuckerberg will not agree to you. He will ask you to agree to his terms, and will, add few more billions into his account. So this is how it works. So how many of you thought when WhatsApp introduced a status option 2-3 years before? I think a lot of people are still joining. Yeah. So how many of you thought, when WhatsApp introduced a status 2-3 years before, do we really need status? See, WhatsApp is so when we completed college, so there was no WhatsApp. By 2012, I think it got introduced by mid of 2012. I think it got introduced. So we thought it as a great boom. Yeah, oh my God, we can share unlimited. There are no restrictions for messages. So we thought that's big, but after 3-4 years, he brought in status on the same day when its status came, right? So I just thought, why we need status? So WhatsApp is a chat application, so why we are asking to what I will keep it as a status? So why should I tell some status to everyone, or the people are really ready to see my status? So that is the perception I had 2-3 years before, but now anyone can live without checking status. So what is the first thing you do? You wake up in the morning, you're scrolling your Instagram feeds, you're checking your WhatsApp status. So this is how the world is progressing. So one more example I would like to showcase, like so everything is basically a survival instinct. I'm just specifically talking about this high technology, but human mind itself is progressive. And what I would say, Microsoft best Windows version is 2007. Anyone disagree to it? Okay. Even if you go and Google it, the best Windows version ever is 2007. Then why still Microsoft is still creating Windows 8, 10, 10s? He has already, achieved the best version ever he could do, but he's still upgrading his versions because he need to survive. He need to compete. If you already bought a stable version and you never, go back to him, and you will use it for lifelong, then unless so you will know you will never go and meet him again. So unless he says that I'll stop supporting the previous versions which you bought, and you need to only use your new versions. So everyone is running behind it. So we need to buy new versions. Any IT company who is using Microsoft product has to upgrade itself. So they have to invest money. So he is getting money. So the services company is working based on the product companies. So this is it's a chain link. So this is current scenario, but generations before to us, right, in our father's age, it is pretty much different. They lived in a fruitful life. They just perform redundant tasks for every day, either it be a physical or a mental work. They work what they do. They know what they do today. So basically, in an IT world, I will say. So that is the only thing I know. So in IT world, I don't know what kind of work will come tomorrow. I don't know what will come after 1 year. But in my father's age, he knows what he will do today. He knows what he will do tomorrow, and he knows what he will do 5 years from now. Because their pattern of life is much easier. They do not have upgrades in their life. Even there was some invention during their period, they will have time to adapt, and changes are not drastic, I'm saying. They had breathing time, and they worked only till 9 to 5. They had time to spend with kids and family in evening, and by that way, they have taken care of their hearts. Okay. So, okay. I'll consider me, right? So I joined Infosys and I trained in C#.NET around before 9 years now. But if you would say C#.NET are still used, yes, they are still used, but it's not having a great market. Now they are being replaced by Angular, machine learning, robotic test automation, and C# is just a tiny part within it. So I joined as a fresher in Chennai. Okay, so after my Infosys training, during that time, it will be just a 2-member team. So I completed my training in Mysore and I went to Chennai. So they deployed me in one team. So there will be one lead and I will be only team person. So he will give me requirements. I will be asked to develop code. Yeah, I will be developing code. I will be asked to test the application. He will ask me test with some dummy data. If it's really working or not, I will do it and it will work fine. I'll tell to the client that, yeah, the code is ready. Can I deploy into the production? Yes. You can do it in the production. I thought like, oh, இவ்வளவுதானா IT, like, wow, easier இருக்குது அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி, I came into that mindset. But now in IT, there are phases. Okay, so there are different teams who is doing development. There are different teams who is doing testing. There is a deployment team. There is a performance testing team. There is a security testing team. There is a different phases of testing: SIT, UAT, business testing, everything. So all these through go into, after all these phases, the code will go into production. And you will be surprised to know that people in this deployment team are the most paid in IT. You know what deployment team do? So he will get the code from me. He will install that code in just a server, and he will make sure that all the servers are up and running and all the so there is no downtime for the customers. So he will just make sure that. But he is the top paid DevOps, DevOps architect, or we call it as DevOps lead, is the one who's been mostly most paid in IT. So basically what I wanted you to understand from these many examples is that there is a change out there. In the market there is change that is existing, and that is exponential. Okay, you can never run parallel to it. As I always believe, life is not only for adapting these changes, but for living it. I believe in that word. So really, you can't learn all your life, right? But even if you want to learn, you have to learn your favorite subject. So have you heard about data scientist? Anyone heard about data scientist? Hope it's a trendy topic, data scientist. But why we need a data scientist, and when actually the data scientist term actually came into the picture is it's really very interesting to know. There were no data scientists, or there is no such terminology before 2008. That is literally when we started studying engineering. So during our engineering, right, so we will have our there will be touch phones, which is something different to what we have. Those the one which we are having our capacitive type, right? So way back, which it's different. So during that time, we will hardly use 100 MB per day. So even 3-4 years before 2003-4, there is no such MB concepts here. But still, I mean, telling in 2008 or 9, we hardly use 100 MB per day. Now every person is using at least 1 to 2 GB per day. Okay, so now where all those data are stored? It's somewhere residing inside the servers of WhatsApp or Instagram, or Facebook, or even WebEx. So all these data needs to be stored and optimized in some place. So there came the data scientist a role. He is a person who optimize the data available in the IT industry. So that is the most paid job worldwide, not alone in IT industry, but all over the market. It's considered as most niche skills now in the market, and it's being the most paid data scientist. Okay, so if you see the data scientist, the most paid guy, that particular thing adapted at 10 years before. That 10 years before, there is no such existence. There is no existence for such a role. Okay, so what I'm saying is, this environment is very volatile. Okay, so when you start learning technology, by time you become expert in that, it will become old and immaterial. Okay, so other new technology evolves, you might need to start from scratch again to learn again the new technology. Okay, so how we handle this? You keep learning. Are you ready to learn all through your life? The answer has to be yes, because that is the kind of pressure out there in every industry. Okay, I'm not threatening everyone, but still, that is the kind of pressure actually we have it in every industry. But how we handle it, right? How our brain and hearts are made of soft tissues. How we handle this much pressure in short term, once you come out as a fresher out of college. Okay, so in the process of evolving and going with the flow, what from my personal experience, you might lose yourself in a maze. Okay, so basically, companies are running behind the customer feedbacks. Okay, so you remember 10-15 years before, you have submitted some surveys, feedbacks to the customer? No, right? But feedbacks and surveys are now the top things which are converting into a new requirement in IT industry. So they will keep evolving, and they will never allow you to settle. The companies will never allow you to settle. So it is wise to choose your career path very early. Okay, so by the time you are into college, you should have decided what you are up to, and where you are going to land after your college days. But unfortunately, as I said before, our education system does not guide us in taking the right decision. Okay, but it's never late. Identify what you really like, figure out which subject you are just learning for marks, and which subject you are learning out of passion. Okay, so it's never late. So I will so there are two different things. You have to differentiate subjects which are you are just learning for marks, and you have to differentiate subject which you are learning out of passion. Subjects you learn for marks is equivalent to technology which you learn for money in real life. Okay, I'll repeat it once again. It is very important here. Okay, so please listen, guys. Subjects which you learn for just marks is equivalent to technologies which you learn for money in real life. Okay, so it might be mandatory that you read all the subjects for marks, but it is not necessary to know every subject you read. Okay, so it's not necessary for you to know every subject you read in detail for life goals. You need to identify which makes you happy, which you have six papers. Which paper makes you happy? You are up to that's your goal. Okay, so that is the way you have to approach education and your life goals. Either it be electronics communication or computer coding. If you learn it for marks or out of passion, choose it yourself. Okay, I'm confident that you can learn anything, but when it comes to learning till we breathe, you should listen to both your brain and heart. Okay, it's not going to be an easy decision. Sometimes it might not please your parents' interest, but someone will ask, you have studied a B and you're going to you're going into a you're not choosing a core job, you're going into an IT, and you're not choosing an IT, and you again want to become an MBA graduate or something like that. So the parents might not be interested in your choices, but you decide you decide what you really want. Okay, what is your passion is. So it's not basically marks, but it's just passion you have. So yeah, so learning right, learning a subject which you have chosen for money, right, in real life will make you weak at some point. So these point all are I'm just telling out of my personal experience. So learning a subject which you have chosen for money in real life. So you have chosen some particular subject to learn for making money. So you are not a developer. You are not a developer. You came from an arts background, and so you are not a technical guy, and you suddenly go and study big data or something which is blooming in market, and you end up in job with that certification. Then what I'm saying is, it will make you weak at some point. There is no passion for you in that particular role or that particular topic, just keep yourself away from it, okay? Because it will make you attain your breaking point. Okay. So yeah, I still have something more to talk, but still now there are a lot of things I spoke. Anything any questions you till now? Okay, great, fine. So I said, completing that, you may attain your breaking point. Okay, so I would say there are two important phases in life. So not two important phases, two important destinations in life. One is turning point, and second is breaking point. Okay, it is very important that out of these two, which hits you first. Okay, consider a guy, who is, well brought up. He studied in, a good school. He got good marks in 10th and +2, and good percentile in college, and good job, all based out of their parents' interest. He wanted to become a doctor. He studied engineering, and he studied ECE, and he ended up in an IT job, all because of their parents' interest. Okay, so they said they decide, parents decide, you just read this and you just go into that job, all all set now he's a settled guy. Okay, so so you can try to recollect what I told. So what this guy is trying to do is, he's trying to learn something for money, or going to do some work for money, which is not out of his passion, but because of his parents' passion. Parents doesn't know about the work nature, but ultimately it will be money, right? So a job which gives more money is a good job, obviously, in our you know in our life, right? In our environment. So basically, when I said good percentile, guys, don't worry. When you come out of college, percentile doesn't matter. So I'm just saying it for an example. Okay, uh, so even I thought that percentiles really matter. 8 above will, there will be a lot of salary hikes after 8 above. If you are between 6 to 7 and you have cleared all the papers, then you are still an average guy. No, not at all. So they are just looking for minds. They don't look for, they just don't look for the concepts which or what theories they don't want it. They just need the minds. Okay, so now getting back to that story. So he came across his turning point of getting a job before hitting his breaking point. So there is no breaking point for his. There is no stopping in his life. See, he's residing in his comfort zone all through his life. So he read in a good school, good college, good percentile, good job. All he got it. Okay, so now the parents thought, then, yeah, my son is settled. So let me marry. Let me get him married. Okay, so he's married, and he's now committed to his family responsibilities. Okay, so he breaks at this point. Okay, so he breaks at this point by thinking that he chose a wrong career. I didn't choose based on, he didn't choose based on his passion, but he chose based on his parents' interest. So it might be an IT job, or best placed, or you went to a core company, or it's an administration job, whatever it is. But he felt that he chose a wrong career, and he cannot learn anymore to sustain. So I told, right? So just consider his experience. That particular guy has placed in IT, and IT is, I told you many examples how IT is progressing, right? So we need to learn every day. So whatever you learn today will not work tomorrow. Okay. So he said that, yeah, I cannot learn anymore to sustain. Then the impact is big. Entire family will be shell shocked, unable to recover, and they will put pressure on that dad's little prince to stretch more, concentrate more, and will question him that you're not a kid anymore. Don't play hide and seek in your career. It's too late. You should continue your job, whatever it takes, as we are dependent on your income. So he chosen a job which he thinks will give money, but he is weak in that subject. Okay, so when breaking points, so in his case, breaking points hits him very late, but turning point hits him before breaking point. Right? When the breaking point hits very early, even before your job career starts, you can convince your parents to choose your right career. That impact will be minimal. See, you are going to complete. You are in third year, fourth year now, and in a year you're going to choose a wise option. Your parents would say, go for an IT job. It's a white collar job, and you will get paid more. But you have a passion for teaching. I won't do, and you are you are having you are saying that coding. I don't like coding. I like teaching. Then go and convince your fathers and say that I will apply for an ME. I'll do PhD. No, you choose your career wisely. Okay, so if you're good in managing, go and apply for CAT and join MBA. Okay, so life is full of options when you make money as a second priority. When you make money as a first priority, life has only one option. Okay, so make sure keeping money, just make sure the money is a second priority. Okay, and that doesn't mean campus recruited or actually what campus. So yeah, so campus recruited doesn't mean they are successful in life. It actually means they were made weak by showing money over your passion. Okay, so so I'm not just blaming campus recruitments. It is very wise when you really need a when it's a really a fit a job of your fit, and there are people who are very much suffering outside the colleges to get a job. But what I'm saying is, it is also a point which will make you weak by showing money over your passion. Okay, if you are not agreeing to it, I have a real-time example. I was attending CAT classes from my third year. Okay, so I have a friend named Sharif, and me and Sharif will we will go. So once our college is over, right, so we will get all our gate pass. So I'm a hostelite. Okay, so and I will get a gate pass so for a whole month, and we will take a bike to Sai Baba Colony, and we had a CAT classes. Okay, I was preparing really good, and out of my there are few people in my batch. They were part of mechanical engineering, so they started CAT after seeing me, but they had same passion, but they don't know what to do. So they have a passion for management over coding, similar to me, but they don't know what to do. But they have they got some idea after that we too joined, right? So there are more people who joined CAT classes. Then fourth year, our campus placement, we got our campus placement. Till then I was preparing good for CAT, and I got a job. It hit the deck very hard. Okay, the offer look attractive, and I have chosen money over passion. Okay, I said no to management. Let me earn some quick money by learning coding, and I will pray for it. Okay, so I'm not an IT guy. I had only couple of computer labs. I don't remember first or second year, but I just had some of computer class. I'm not great in coding at that time. Okay, but I fell pay for it. But yeah, so that is how I wanted to relate between the description what I gave before and the real-time example. So even all those examples given above are about me. I am the guy who chosen money over passion. Okay, so how did it hit me? Okay, so you can say like you are good now. You are still continuing in IT firm, and you can be good with your salary, or you are having a good job, good life, all these things. But you can think in that way. But um, um, but that is not the actual case. What I had. Okay, so it might be fruitful to see it see good now, but there were, ups and downs. Okay, so so I don't, I will not say that, if passion, if you really have a passion for coding, then please, opt IT. Okay, don't think that some random guy said that, you should put down an offer. Okay, so but it's really precious thing, placing in a, in a campus recruitment and getting a job of your sort. Okay, now getting back again to the story, in course of 2-3 years when I, switched company, right? So I identified myself to be in a wrong career. Okay, so 2-3 years went. So when Jagdish ma'am told, right, so I was part of Infosys for 2.1 years. Now all my college friends were there. We were, being a gang there, and whatever doubts we have, we will clarify it ourselves, and we used to compare ourselves, how good we are, how good the project is, what new technology we are learning. All these things happen at 2.1 years. See, I made a double the mistake. Okay, so first thing is I wrongly chose the career. IT was not my passion. IT was money bounded. Okay, in my perspective. Okay, so yeah, why I thought I chose a wrong career is, so after this 2 years, right, I went into Cognizant. So all my teammates will be right. They will be mostly, so I would do at that time I will be 23 something. They will be 35, 40 people, 40 plus people will be there, and they will crack a joke in during my lunchtime. And I went, I will. I even literally cried for some of their jokes because they were very much annoying, and doesn't fit for my age. Okay, so there was some gap I felt. Okay, so that is one mistake I did. I switched company very early before knowing what is this IT is. I switched company. Okay, okay. My my team lead certifies me I'm a good coder. Okay, you are doing good job, man. So you can why are you really worried about your career? Just go ahead with your same thing. You will get used to it. He told that, but I'm not ready to accept that technology. That technology that I become expert. I learned we learned literally for 18-19 hours in Mysore Infosys, C# and .NET. I spent a lot of time in learning this technology, and now you are saying that it is material. Like you can't, you are not going to work on the technology. Learn a learn a new technology. You might be in you might be good in Infosys. Come to Cognizant. Now we are using a different technology. Now learn from day one. You are a fresher again. Something of that sort. It's not like it will not be a case for everyone. When you work on one technology, you will move into another technology. Now you will get interviewed with that technology, and you'll move into another company, right? So my bad, I got placed, but I got deployed into a project which uses a different technology than what I completely um, uh, working all the day through. But C# .NET is also kind of declining, and there are advancements coming, as I said, right? So there were Angular JS, so everything were coming. So I'm not ready to accept that. So I learned, I learned these many ways. I spent all through, and I got a job. And you're asking me to learn again. Do you think I will learn till my last day in this, till my last day of my experience? No, I was not agreeing to it. Okay, so I tried. I know. Then at some point of time there is a pressure. Same sort which that guy above got, right? So so he got that. I got that same pressure. So I have a commitment, family commitment. So that little prince was not allowed to choose career at this point of time. Okay, I tried hard to switch to other profession, but it was too late. Okay, I'm already in middle of something. So so it's too late to take any life-changing decision. Okay, and your anxiety towards your future will cost the guy reduce with the serotonin levels in brain. Serotonin is a chemical which keeps yourself happy. So I become emotionally numb, and that is termed as depression. Okay, and you are hearing, oh my God, you fell into a depression. No, don't worry that much, because it's not a taboo anymore. Okay, when you're ready to adapt a change in technology, you should understand and adapt change in humans' mental stability as well. Okay, so next time when your loved ones ask how are you, this is the answer for your first question. Please assess both your physical health and mental health before answering it. If your mind is not well, means you are not well, and seek help. Okay, it doesn't mean you are having a fever or a cold or a fatigue. That means you are not well. Even if your mental health is not good, then you are not well as well. Okay, now you can ask me questions from that story. Are you still continuing in your unfavorite job of IT? How you can able to still manage, after the 2-3 years downfall, what happened next? No, yes, it took some time. It took some time, some medications, but I was coding for 6-7 years. Okay, so it happened. So the fruit has ripened, and I got promoted as a team lead. Okay, and my favorite job, team management, got added into my role in the same IT world. Okay, so as ma'am said, that currently I'm managing a 10-member team who is writing code for me now. Okay, so I'm not, I'm just managing things, and tell them how to write code, but my team is writing code for me. I'm doing my favorite job, that is team management. Okay, so there might be this downfall during this course of time, but see how much struggle. So by God's grace, everyone will have a good and bad time, but it will not be same for all. So what I'm saying is, choose your career based on your passion. So that is the first thing. And second thing will be, you should not you should not think that it's the end of the day. Okay, so when it's done, it's not end of the day. So so basically, breaking point has hit me late when compared to turning. So that is the wrong thing. So if you need something, your breaking point should come before your turning point. When turning points come before, breaking point will become, will rule you. Okay, breaking point will start ruling you. Okay, so so this is basically what my experiences are, and I would compare your heart and brain, right? So actually, why I mentioned as heart is take care of your heart. Take care of your heart means because actually the heart is you. Okay, so brain is rest all what you do in your life. Heart is just you. Okay, in this course of all these experience I received, one thing which doesn't change is me, is my heart. Okay, so heart cannot able to adapt the change. Brain is ready to accept the change and learn new things, but heart is not ready. So take care of your heart. In this process of your career growth or something like that, there are few things which you should do to take care of your heart. Okay, so you need to call out what all things are grateful you are for. You have good father, good dad. I could able to read that concept easily. I'm blessed that I can catch quickly all these points, and I'm good at writing. I'm good at poetry, or I'm good at painting or something like that. Please feel grateful for what you possess in this world. Okay, and another thing is, at every day before going to bed, you need to uh, satisfy your heart, saying that what you have really accomplished in all these many days, these many hours you spent in this day. So you need to tell, yeah, I achieved this thing, I achieved that thing. 2-3 days before, that problem was in that state, but if you see this problem as matured enough, and it's coming fruitful in my way. Okay, so these are some of the accomplishments, these are some of the short term achievements we have. That way you convince your heart that we are doing a great job. Okay, so that doesn't mean learning a new technology is a wrong thing. Okay, so that way you need to convince your heart. Okay, you should get satisfied with what work you do. Okay, so I would think that why I should learn a new technology every day. The world is like that. Okay, but I have made a mistake of choosing passion, choosing mm, money over passion, but I need to survive in that field. So you need to make satisfaction out of it. Okay, so you need to know, okay, I learned something till yesterday, but I need to learn something today as well. So that is something you accomplished, right? So I said learn something new. I keep on learning. Okay, so that is how you make your heart comfortable. Okay, so adapting to change is brain is ready for it, but the problem is heart was not ready for it. So you need to make sure you know it is you, right? So you need to talk to yourself that you are grateful for what you have learning so far, what you are currently learning. I will keep on learning. Don't pressurize yourself. Okay, keep your heart healthy. So by telling all those things, you should definitely know uh, what you should become after after you complete your college, right? So so basically you should assess early what you're going to learn throughout your life. Okay, and be sure for it. Okay, so this is actually the answer for the second question. So why you are ready for life? Because you will take up that breaking point early to the instead of turning point. Okay, you should have, and some other tips I would say, you should have some real friends. Okay, you should not have it's not a great deal to get 1,000 friends in Facebook and 1,000 plus followers on Instagram and all these things, non-stop non-stoppable WhatsApp status. So nothing nothing it doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter when you go out of college. Okay, it might look like a fancy thing. I have a lot of friends, I have a great circle. It will not work in that way. You should have real friends. You should have friends in your who you will meet every day, who will you meet at least a week. Okay, so it's not a friend who will WhatsApp you in a week or a month. It's not a real friend. Okay, and saying it's not a that is a basically you are adapting technology to continue your friendship. That doesn't work in that way. You should have some real friends. You should identify a person who is almost having the same passion as you do. So that way you can create a bond with them both professionally and personally. Okay, so both so the persons with have the persons having same passion will really work out in a great way. Okay, so um, to to end my you know what to say, my speech, that there are few mantras that you should practice. Okay, so you should take a deep breath always. You should pat yourself on the back. Okay, you should enjoy learning, and you should understand this is the nature of the current world. At the end of the day, money isn't important, it is the second priority. Okay, being always strong, love your family, and enjoy music thoroughly. Okay, enjoy music, taste delicious food, drive your favorite vehicle, and become immune to this weak system. Okay, that is the important thing. You should become immune to this weak system that is tend to change, and you should adapt to it. Okay, so that is the secret of becoming unbreakable in life, and just you will be ready for life after your college. Okay, hope my both questions are answered. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, Dayanidhi, wonderful message, Dayanidhi, about emotional well-being. Beautifully said. Audience, if you have any questions, you can come forward.
Mr. Dayanathan, it was really great that you shared your own personal experience here. And I think
Yeah.
it would be a great help for the current students also while making their decisions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would be always there to help our students. Probably you can share my details to all of them who participate here. So it will be of real help.
Ms. Dayanathan, do you follow some kind of meditation or something? I mean, when you are really stressed out, like when you found that you have you are in the wrong path.
Okay.
Did you
So-
follow some kind of meditation, or what else did you do?
Okay. So yeah, correct. Okay. So basically, what people think is that, like, so that is so we think it's our mistake, right? If you get a fever or a cold, they will think it's not my mistake, it's a virus mistake. But if you get a mental worry, you will think that it's my mistake, it's my weakness. Okay. So I am the only one who is responsible for it. Okay. You are right that meditation will really help, but we should, step out and go and meet the right physician, okay, who is ready to help always. So it's not really shame to say to your wife or your family that I'm not well, I'm mentally not well. Okay, so that is a thing, but medications will definitely help. And but medications are not the they are temporary cure, but meditations are the permanent cure. Okay, so you need to basically when you feel stressed or anxiety, when so at this stage no one will get that, but when time goes by and the life commitments will pressurize you, that will break you. Okay, at that time you need to listen to your heartbeat. That is one thing. Just think that how continuously it runs for you. Second thing is you need to observe your breath. Okay, so there are a lot of scientifically proven methods that observing just your breath, just sit idle, observe your breath for 10 to 15 minutes, you will make yourself peace minded. Okay, so meditation, yes, you can do, but you would need a place, time for that. But observing your breath is the best way to keep yourself cool and calm. Just try it out to all students out there. Whenever you feel something stressed or about your exams or lab or whatever it might be, just observe your breath. Close your eyes and observe your breath. Just stay in the place wherever you are and observe your breath. It will make a great difference. I got my favorite ma'am is wishing me. Hi ma'am, how are you? Udayarani ma'am.
Good evening, Dayanidhi. Very, very happy to hear from you, man.
Thank
ஒரு
you, thank
கவிதை
you.
ஏதாவது இருக்கா?
மேம் அதெல்லாம் விட்டு ரொம்ப நாள் ஆச்சுங்க. அதான் in course of life.
Okay, okay.
You are a great inspiration to us, ma'am. Your first story about how hard it is to get a PhD being a woman is still tickling in my mind. Then and yeah,
Thank you, Dayanidhi. Best wishes for you.
thank
Best
you
wishes.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In 2008, my first my first day, first class was, I believe, physics, and I think it was taken by Udayarani ma'am. She is still one of my favorite, ma'am. I think she will be more mostly favorite for all of you, but she is my personal favorite.
Yeah, very nice to hear that.
Thank you.
Question in mind, like, see, I'm almost 40 and I'm working. During my workplace or somewhere, like, I'll feel a bit irritated. So is that because I'm not emotionally well-being, or is that job is not suiting me or something like that, or how I can identify whether I'm not in the right track?
Okay, so it's actually a good question. So to in my experience, right? So you what might be went wrong in your aspect is you are not taking your job as an 8 hours work a day. You are considering that SREC is completely taken care and it's been ran, and if not you, then there will be a collapse within the organization might happen. So you are taking that kind of that much of pressure within you. You are not taking your job as a job. Okay, so basically, I will take my job as an 8 hours work per day. I'm being paid for what I'm doing. And after my 8 hours, I will not think about my job. I'll think about my kid. I'll spend time with my wife. I'll watch my, I'll watch my favorite. My IPL is coming up. So you will not, so you will not, you should not be, reactive. That's the major thing. So you should there is a colleague near to me, so he is always worried about the job. Energy இது வந்து இப்படி பண்றாங்க, லீடா மேனேஜரா என்ன மனுஷன் நினைச்சாங்களா என்ன நினைச்சாங்களா அந்த அளவுக்கு வந்து நம்மள வேலை வாங்குறாங்க புளியறாங்க. Don't be reactive. He is doing his job. He is doing a job of managing you. He is doing a job of getting a work from you. Okay, you are going to respond to him. You are not going to react to him. He is not anyone personal to you. You are just going to answer him. Just consider it as a question. I think you will be mixing your emotion and the job which you do. You should separate out what an emotion is, what a job is. Okay, so doing a job and considering that. So and one more thing you need to think about, Thomas, sir, is like there is always, for every day there is another day. It's not end of the world at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. at the evening. Okay, so that pressure on time and that pressure on and that reaction you're giving to any instance is the reason, I believe. So you should not react, you should just respond.
Very well said, Dayanidhi. Thank you so much. Thank you.
My kid wants to, so I just locked up my door. So probably, I will switch on my video and I also, bring my kid so you can see me right once again. I committed him that, I'll be playing with him from 7 p.m. and he started knocking the door from 7. So just, give an intro. Thank you.
Shri ma'am, if audience have no other questions, Vasant sir, shall we go for the closing remarks?
Yes, Thomas sir.
Yes, okay. So that was Dayanidhi Palanisamy from the batch 2012 ECE. Thank you, Dayanidhi Palanisamy, for the wonderful message you left us today this evening. Thank you. This was the webinar talk series number 67. Thank you so much for making this evening a meaningful one, Dayanidhi. Thank you, Kasi sir and Jagadishri ma'am of Department of ECE for roping in Dayanidhi Palanisamy for today's webinar session. Thank you. And thank you, Dayanidhi, once again. SRS Alumni Association feels proud to host you for today's webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience, for being here. Student friends, alumnus across the globe and India. Thank you so much for being here. The faculty members and well-wishers for being here to make this evening a memorable one. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.